Hey, can y'all hear me now? I'm doing things a little different today, so a little out of order. Stacy, can you hear me? Stacy's in my back. All right, all right, I got you on. Hey, y'all! Welcome to True Crime live stream. I've got a special guest here, a good friend of mine, Stacy JC. That's what I call her. Stacy's here with me, and we're going to talk about the terrible things that happened in Idaho, the murders in Idaho, and just remember that we are just talking about stuff. We don't have all the information, and just give me 1 second. Yeah, we are just hashing things out and talking about things, and we don't have any. We're not saying this is true, that's true. We're just stating opinions. So welcome, Stacy. How you doing today?
Thanks. Great.
Good, good. Got some people coming in. Let me just say hi to who's here. 71 and Irvin. Audio and videos God. Thank you, Irvin. Thank you. So let's just play. Stacy, let's just talk about it in a minute. What's the latest that you've got going on with this, or thoughts on this? I've got a little video about, was it the Dateline? There's one you sent me, just kind of as an intro to conversation, but yeah.
I mean, obviously there was a 2020 on Friday, and the Dateline at the same time on the same night, competing networks. I was like, well, that makes it tough for a true crime person like us. But right. I just watched the whole Dateline last night, and it was pretty insightful too. It gave more opinions from folks that actually knew Kohberger. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend going to check it out. You can just download the app and then watch it for free there.
Hold on just a second. Hey, Brittany, thank you so much for doing that. Good to see you. And Sandy and Campfire Lassie and Sweet and Sloopy. I'm not going to be able to say hi to everybody, but welcome. And also anybody who watches the replay. We're just here to just chit chat about this. I barely covered it. And Stacy is first time on a panel, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I did want to thank Brittany for that, because Brittany's got a big channel. Her channel's growing like crazy, and I appreciate you sharing that out. So, and she covers this case a lot. So
cool.
So I didn't finish watching both of those. I think I finished the 2020, but I got sidetracked last night. And anyway, so did anything come out in those that you thought was particularly?
Nothing groundbreaking, I don't think. I think now that we're waiting on the 26th of June, right?
Right.
That'll be
preliminary hearing.
Yeah, that'll be when we get more real information, more real fact-based information.
Well, Stacy can't see. You can't see chat, right?
No.
Okay, people are saying hi to you, and you're not going to know who they are anyway. So you can watch this back and watch the chat and see what people said if you want. Okay. Not now. So, I mean, I don't know, like the latest, once that hearing happened and he said, they put it off till June. I mean, there's not a whole lot to know right now, and there's a gag order. So, as far as new information, but there's plenty to talk about. And you're somebody who thinks that, let me get this right, that what's his name? Papa Rogers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm going to pull this up because I haven't followed Papa Rogers a lot. Papa Rogers, yeah, I haven't followed him a lot. And so, what? I'm still here. Sorry. There. Okay. For some reason. Okay. So, let me share something here. I've got pulled up. Barb, you're pushing the wrong buttons again. Stop pushing my buttons. Yeah, he was following the case for sure. And whether it was on there or not, we don't really know for sure. But so I got with Stacy or talked to Stacy yesterday, and I'm like, check this out, because this person on Twitter says, I find it odd that everyone gravitates towards Bryan Kohberger being owner of the Papa Rogers account when there were 29 officers from Moscow working the case, 44 FBI agents, 36 Idaho state police, and one coroner that likely knew about the Sheath. So this is it totally in reference to the Sheath, but I guess Papa Rogers was the one. Okay, would somebody, do I have any mods in here? Got to block grandma, whoever grandma is coming in. All right. Somebody called me grandma the other day, Stacy.
God. That's rude.
Me. I just climbed a mountain, y'all. So tell me, like, what makes you think it's him, and some of the thoughts you have on that. Just
I think that Twitter post is very insightful. I think there might be something to it. But if you go back and you read all the Papa Rogers posts, he's very aggressive. He's very aggressive, sarcastic, demeaning, especially toward the women that responded to him. Right. He's very aggressive, sarcastic, demeaning, especially toward the women that responded to him. Right. He's very aggressive, sarcastic, demeaning, especially toward the women that responded to him. Right. He's very aggressive, sarcastic, demeaning, especially toward the women that responded to him. Right. He's very aggressive.
That was me with the feedback. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I just heard myself like 15 times over.
I know, it was my fault.
Sorry, y'all.
I was trying to make Irvin a mod because we had trolls coming in.
Got it. Yeah. But all I was saying was, you know, if you look at the way that he speaks, it's the way that end user speaks that makes me lean toward it actually being Kohberger and not. I mean, if somebody was just wanting to leak information, they didn't have to do it the way he did it. So yeah, I totally think it was him. And that's, you know, it's not unheard of. He went back to the crime scene. He did a lot of typical things that serial killers, mass killers do. You know, he's like doing textbook and not even very smart about it for being as smart as he is.
He's kind of a copycat, right? I mean, he studied all these people, so he's picking up bits and pieces. And I did a short on it, but most people, you know, we don't want to talk about sexual stuff, but in the there was somebody that came out and they were like, well, just because they didn't, you know, they checked the regular, you know, parts of a person for that, and that there are men who do this and have other fetishes about women and will leave, you know, saliva and stuff on other parts of their body, and it sometimes gets missed. Have you thought about any of that?
Well, another interesting thing that I heard too, and I think this might have been one of the retired FBI profilers or somebody that was talking about this, in that same vein, that just because he didn't sexually assault anybody doesn't mean that every time he drove the knife in, you know, there's like a substitution there in his psyche. That makes a lot of sense too. And on top of that, I don't know how anybody would have an opportunity to essay somebody, any one of those 4 people in that amount of time.
In 14 minutes, right?
Yep. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Do you think he got scared off, or do you think he did what he intended to do? Oh, and while I'm saying that, while you're thinking about that for a second, I and Stacy were both on the same belief. We do not want to talk about DM and what happened, you know, she's lucky to be alive. And I wish people would leave her alone. And they're out there saying, oh, she left her parents' house. No, we don't care. Let the girl, let her, hey, everybody coming in. Hey, I can't say hi to everybody today, but I really appreciate y'all being here. And I see you. Thank you. Yeah. So I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you were talking about DM. I mean, everybody just for out of this, let her go get her therapy and inpatient. Probably that's what I need if that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave her out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I think that just like everybody else has said, his targets were Maddie, Kaylee, Maddie, both. One of them. The other one may have just been a bonus. I've heard a lot of things like that Xana, she had just gotten that DoorDash, and some people are speculating that her attack started in the kitchen because there's a lot of blood splatter in the kitchen
that we haven't seen.
And I read something somewhere too that her body it wasn't in the bedroom. Maybe it was like in the doorway, like she was running back to get Ethan or something, trying to get away from him. Who knows?
Well, and also if she got the DoorDash and then she was in the kitchen when he came in or something.
Yeah.
And if he was really if he was, I mean, we have proof that he was stalking them. He was in an area all the time, but he wasn't smart enough. We talked about this, like he wasn't smart enough to just leave your phone at home. Like leave your phone at home, take the battery out or something if you got to take it with you. But having it on while stalking them, and maybe he was in the area for some other reason, but it's not like it's a major thoroughfare. He was like down this little road.
Mm-hmm.
And why would you be down that little road all the time? And you don't have, I mean, a different college, they did say that they're very interactive between the two schools. And they're in different states, but they're, not that far away from each other, like 10 miles or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I know like high school kids do that a lot. And I went to, I was at UCA, and there was a smaller college nearby, but we were like 10 minutes from them or 5 minutes. So that's not the same thing, but still, like, why are you so, if you're so educated, why are you so dumb that you're driving over there all the time?
Mm-hmm. I just don't think he thought he was going to get caught. I just don't.
He thinks he's smart, but he doesn't have common sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
He has some of that book education because he studied it. And he graduated, so we know that he made the grade. So you can't graduate from a master's program and not learn something. You may memorize it all.
Right.
I mean, I memorized a lot of stuff and don't remember anything, but.
And another interesting thing that I heard was that, he asked as soon as he was arrested, has anybody else been arrested? Mm-hmm. Well, ironically enough, John Wayne Gacy said the exact same thing when he got arrested.
Oh, wow.
Thought that was kind of.
Oh, he's a copycat. Him that we know of. It's probably a combination of a bunch of those serial killers.
Yeah, well, they compare his eyes to Ted Bundy. But Ted Bundy was way better looking. He was.
Oh, and while we're talking about looks, okay, so I used to work with this Pause in Prison program here in Arkansas, and I went to the prisons with my friend. I don't think she's doing it now. She was a trainer for the program, and so she trained the people in prison to train the dogs. And so we went to this one. It's like every other week we went to this one in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And this guy had the best hair, and he was late getting in there one day, and they said, oh, he's putting toothpaste in his hair. So you got to remember that people in prison don't have everything we have or have access to everything we have. And so somebody keeps saying, I mean, I keep hearing that Bryan's hair was dirty, which it well may be dirty. However, he could have been just using whatever he has, like toothpaste, because he does have it looks like a nice cut and everything. It's, he's got, and I know with my hair, if I don't put anything in my hair, it's going to be flat on my head. I have baby fine hair. Yeah, that's true, Beatlemaniac. Charisma caused lots of deaths, because that's the thing is Bundy could get the girls. I mean, he had a wife and she was in love with him. Like she didn't know he was, killing people.
Oh.
71 says Ted Bundy was very hot man. Very hot. Hey, Clover, I did see you. If y'all are just coming in, I can't say hi to everybody today, but I do see everybody coming in. I'm watching the chat, and I appreciate it. And Stacy here is a real true life friend of mine and probably knows more about me than anybody. Probably more than my own parents,
I won't tell anyone though.
No, please. Please don't tell my secrets. Okay, so let's just play this video from very recent video just to get more. I'm used to talking to myself up here in the chat, so I feel like the conversation's not moving, but I know it is, so it's just the way I am. But I just want to play this. I think I hit. If y'all can't hear it, let me know, please.
As suspected killer Bryan Kohberger awaits his next court appearance in Idaho, the search for a motive in the killings of 4 college students continues. Dateline NBC investigating the case in a 2-hour special, speaking to outside experts now studying a certain set of online posts made by a mysterious Facebook user who called themselves Papa Roger, encouraging people to discuss the crime and raising the discovery of the sheath a month before it was publicly revealed.
The number of people that would know or speculate that a sheath was left behind had to be very limited.
Police won't confirm if those posts were from the killer or whether there were other clues left for the world to see. Investigators say in the hours following the murders, Kohberger's cell phone pinged in the immediate area of the crime scene. Investigators later discovering a knife sheath with DNA linked to Kohberger left next to the body of one of the victims. One student telling Keith Morrison Kohberger was his teaching assistant for the fall semester, and in the days following the killings, November 13th, all of a sudden, Kohberger started grading papers very...
Let's just stop. Let's go back to the sheath, because I've had thoughts. He thinks he's this crime guru because he's got a master's degree. And so what if he planted that there? Because a knife sheath, if that's only blood he left behind is on this knife sheath, that could have been touched by anybody.
Yeah, that's true. And he could have planted it and just not have the forethought, I guess, to remember that he had to push that button back down, because that could easily be redirected toward, I'm sure. And we heard this early on when they found that after they announced it, that they were looking for people that were, in the military there for a short while. They were, but that was way far. And they already had him pegged.
Mm-hmm. They had him way earlier. And, yep. And then there was, okay. So I covered here, I did a pre-recorded about Ann Presley, and when Ann Presley was murdered, and you remember that, right?
Oh God. Yeah.
That was in our, in our town where we lived. And, well, she got brutally murdered, stabbed, beat up. I think she was probably brain dead at the time when it happened. Her mother found her.
It was horrible.
Like 4 a.m. But the thing was, the police told us, y'all don't have to worry about anything. And women in Little Rock were going out and buying guns and knives and mace and everything.
I did.
Because, I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't, sitting at my door terrified, but wasn't very many miles from my home. Mm-hmm. And the Heights is known as a really, safe neighborhood and everything. It's old money. My grandparents used to live not too far from where this one, when they were still alive, from where she was murdered in her little home. And
Barb, I went, and this is terrible probably, but I went to her house afterwards. It was like a few weeks afterwards, and looked in the windows and then done anything with anything in there yet.
Oh no, I didn't know. Oh, you went. Oh, it's gone now. They tore the house down.
Yeah. Yep.
But I didn't know. So you could see like in her bedroom?
You couldn't see in her bedroom. You could see in the front living room, and you could see in like her little entryway. So you kind of got it was sad. You got a sense of how she decorated and loved dogs. And
So the point of, she had two dogs. The point of that was that, the police were telling us the same thing they were telling people here for this murder. And we were like, well, you don't have any suspects, but you're telling us we're not supposed to be afraid. And I mean, 4 people got murdered here, and they were telling them you don't have to be afraid. So,
yeah. I mean, they knew right off the bat it was not a murder-suicide. There's no way.
Thanks, hoping for answers. I see you, new person. Yeah, I mean, they didn't have they didn't have him as a suspect. Well, we didn't know about it until they got him, and it was a lot longer. And this guy, they had him pegged a lot sooner. So we don't know when they started following him and keeping up with him and everything. But still, I mean, they were saying that immediately, weren't they? Don't worry, it's okay.
Yeah. The day up, they came out and said the public didn't have anything to worry about. Then they circled back. Next press conference, they said, I forget the exact verbiage, but they redacted what they said, basically.
All right.
Everybody then got petrified and homeschooled the rest of the semester and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, just think about if your child is at that college. I mean, we all have friends, or most of us have friends with, at our ages of our, friends having kids in college and stuff. And while a lot of times kids go within state, well, these kids, I think, lived in that state, and they were going to their state college. You get a cheaper rate if you go to college in your own state. So,
yeah.
And just the thought of that. And then what do you think about Daddy flying out to drive home with him? Why is he taking his car home for a winter, Christmas break for 3 weeks? It doesn't make sense. It takes him a week to get home. 5 days.
It's almost like either trying to run with the car so he can really go detail the car out, like he wound up doing after he got pulled over twice. Probably freaked him out a little bit. But I would have thought he would have done that right off the bat.
Surely he did. And I'm trying to figure out myself how
said, sorry to interrupt, but Papa Rogers even posted, assuming this is Bryan, that he's the one that said the kitchen was dripping with blood. And then he also said the killer was covered in blood. So unless he had everything wrapped in plastic in his car, I don't care what he did, there's going to be some blood evidence in there.
I was wondering if he had his car all wrapped up, though. You could. I mean, I'm not saying 100% you could, but you could cover the seat that you're going to be in and the floor.
Yeah.
But in the amount of time, if you're covered in blood,
I don't know.
I'm just like, how could you even hide that? I mean, how could you could hose out you're still going to leave. I just don't think he could clean it all out. I think that's going to be what gets him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or part of what gets him. I think, having blood in his car, he's not going to be able to say, well, I looked at a knife at a knife show and I touched that knife maybe. I mean, a sheath of a knife with one part of DNA. And I think what a lot of people are mistaking is they're thinking that that's all the DNA they found of him. And that's not what I think.
I don't either.
Yeah. I think that's just what they used for probable cause.
Yep. I totally agree.
And I think that maybe the other stuff's not back yet because, there's Amy. And I'm just thinking that maybe some of that, the blood that's mixed together and stuff.
Yeah.
How long it takes, but to get him. So let me play this. Let me start this back.
Differently.
He was the guy who was grading your papers, and he graded them harshly.
Yeah, definitely. At a certain point, he started just giving everyone 100s and super high marks. Looking back, it lines up pretty well also with obviously November 12th, 13th, through there.
Changes in Kohberger's behavior in the days after the killings, now possible clues in the case. Now, Kohberger is currently being held without bail and said through an attorney he expects to be exonerated.
Thanks for watching our YouTube.
Well, I expect to be a millionaire by the end of this year. So, I mean, let's just go with it.
Right.
Right? I mean,
but going back to the blood evidence and assuming they have more than just this, although the type of DNA that they did get off of that sheath, single source, kind you want, that's definitive DNA.
what does that mean, single source?
So it's not touch DNA, right?
I thought it meant that's all they found on the knife. I'm dumb.
No, it just means it's not touch DNA. It's a
Blood or saliva or skin cells.
It's a more definitive DNA. It's the kind you want. And I think that's probably why they put that in the affidavit, as opposed to, we found some blood mixed together, because people can dispute that, I guess, one way or another. But he I'm sure he had blood all over him. I'm sure there's some in that car. I mean, the things he did to Ethan are unspeakable.
And we're talking about cutting his
Hamstrings
down to his hamstrings. Why is he cutting his leg? Did he? I mean, because I heard mutilated. I heard that.
Yeah.
That's.
I think it's. I've heard and read that on more than one. From more than
that'll
one.
all come out. That'll all come out. But I haven't heard anybody saying maybe he had a thing for him, but
I hadn't thought of that one.
We haven't. I mean,
or he could have just been so pissed that he ran into this dude that he really wanted to let him know about it,
Or dude's up in there sleeping in the house with all these beautiful women and he can't even get a date.
That's the truth. When he did get, right? I'm sure you heard about her.
Yeah, the date.
Faked
puke. But is that real? I mean, we don't know that girl's just not coming on here and saying that.
I just can't imagine that they would not do some sort of sourcing to be sure that really did happen.
What was the news source for that? What was the?
So she's been on I think she's been on CNN.
Okay.
She's been on reputable news channels. So I definitely think that really happened. And it was a Tinder date.
Tinder, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there may be more too. I mean, I wouldn't want to go out and put myself in the limelight of this case,
right?
In the midst of it, but there have been kids. The student we just heard, he was talking about how they got graded and stuff. So,
yeah.
And then when they're driving back, and Dad's like, "Well, there was the shooting at the school," and I'm over here like, "Well, your son just murdered 4 people."
So, have you heard how they're trying to tie this back to being Kohberger's co-defendant?
His dad?
No. The shooting.
Oh, no, I haven't heard that.
Okay, that shooting. It was a shootout with this Army dude with PTSD. He had threatened his roommates, and it was basically suicide by cop at the end of it all. And they killed him, and that's what the dad was talking about. And now they're trying to say that the co-defendant was actually this military guy, and that him and Bryan were buddies, and Bryan asked him to get the knife or something. I mean, this is all theorizing by.
Oh, somebody's just trying to get in the limelight.
I don't think there's anything to that, but that's.
What is Deb saying about the? Deb's asked, did the hairdresser save a message?
Oh, yeah, I know what she's talking about.
I don't know what that is. So go ahead.
So the hairdresser, yeah, that's a good question, I guess. But like, if I go into my voicemails right now, I've got them. I'm embarrassed to say, like, my voicemail is 92% full right now, and they go way back. So I think that's why it was saved on her phone. It was just still in there, and it was early December. I think she said December 2nd or so in there. But it was interesting to hear his voice talking like a normal person, because all we've heard from him has been yes and no. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say Your Honor.
Do you think he got, because people were saying that he came into court and he was, we saw the cuts on his face, and we saw his demeanor was different. And It
Mhm.
seemed like he was a little less agile and, in pain. So people were saying that he got beat up, but I think they're keeping him separate.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't even go to rec with anybody else. He gets his 1 hour. He's by himself. Lonely world.
Too bad.
Yeah. I mean, unless the guards are, but I doubt it. It's too high profile. I don't think they would mess with him like that.
Yeah,
Prison.
they don't need to. He seemed defeated. That's right, Deb. He did. He seemed something was different.
Yeah, he was meeker,
Mhm.
more meek, whatever's proper there.
He was just mad because they gave him cheap razors to use. I don't know. It didn't really look like razor nicks to me, but I, can't say that I'm an expert at men and razors because it's
one,
not.
the long one, Barb,
Mhm.
side of his face. I mean, you got to be working real hard to cut yourself that long with a razor. It almost looks self-inflicted. I've heard people think.
Self-inflicted? Like, why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know. Why would you kill 4 people?
Oh, that's true. I mean, there are people who self-harm in not deadly ways. I guess that's a way to say it. That he could be picking at his face. Maybe. I mean, when he first came in, I thought maybe he had a zit or something. Because I mean, he went from eating his "don't let meat touch my pan" vegan to I'm sure he's eating a lot of peanut butter and jelly right now. I mean, they can give him a vegan diet, but can they provide him with Thai food and stuff? I don't think they will.
No. And I read somewhere like from ex-cons that say, people that are on a special diet, they may think they're getting their special diet, but especially somebody like him, those line cooks are going to mess with him.
Yeah. It's like going to a restaurant. You don't want to be a bitch at a restaurant before you get your food and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what they're going to put in your food. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Spit or worse,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody who's coming in from Brittany. Thanks, Brittany, again for doing that. You're super special. Brittany's a really good person, too. And she does true crime. I don't even know if she's still in here, but she sent a bunch of people over. And I appreciate y'all being here. I can't say hi to everybody because we are just talking this case up. But I do appreciate. I can't even talk. Y'all being here. He's curled up in a ball facing the wall. Well, supposedly that's true, Bones. I don't think he's talking to people. I think that he is probably being pretty polite to the cop. He doesn't. I don't see Bryan, and you can tell me what you think. I don't see him as the type who wants to. I see him as the type who wants to go through this and look how cool I am, and not start any physical, stuff with the guards.
Yeah, I don't think anything like that's going to happen. It's hard to say. I mean, if I were him, I would be terrified. I would just be terrified of everyone. I mean, every time you walk in the courtroom, you have to imagine that 95% of the people in there want to see you dead. I mean, there's that. And, there's supposedly presumption of innocence, but we all know better than that. He's already, he's already been judged, public opinion.
And we have every right to do that, because we aren't the court of law, and they can change the jurisdiction of this all day long. They can move it all the way to, Florida.
I know.
Other end of the other end, yeah, it's not going to change. People already know about this. Yeah. People who don't follow true crime have heard about this on college, on campus killing of 4 people with a knife. It's crazy. And they're talking about the razors being dull. Oh, Catherine, good to see so many people coming over here from Brittany. Now, I had Brittany on one morning, if y'all remember. She slept through it, but we made it up. So, love Brittany. Stacy didn't do that today. She showed up right on time. So. But so what else? What Papa Rogers? I mean, I know we're bouncing all over the place because my mind does that, but I really don't get why he had Daddy come fly out with him, but it could be if Dad's retired and it was cheap. Maybe it was cheaper to fly Dad out there a one way than to fly Bryan home and back.
Maybe.
Or maybe Bryan doesn't fly. But most people don't. And also, he relicensed his car, which normally when you go away to college, you don't have to relicense your vehicle. Your permanent residence is your home where your parents are.
Right.
So did he do that to, was he trying to hide?
If he'd been thinking, though, he would have done that before all this happened. That was one of the things that was a dead ringer for his vehicle, because Washington State, you have to have front and rear plates. Pennsylvania, it's just the rear plate. So when they saw the Elantra with no front plate, they knew they were looking for probably somebody from out of state.
Oh.
So
and they had the year wrong. They had the year model. It was 2015, and they were saying 2013 or something. 20.
Yeah.
No, but you can't. It's really amazing how many cameras are out here too. You can't you can't do anything without being on camera. I'm wondering how many times when I'm out on my well, not when I'm in the woods, but when between here and the woods, how many times I'm on camera between homes having cameras and all these businesses around here. They're small. I mean, it's just a little town, but.
And it really depends on the town too. I mean, there are some cities that are, overseas.
Here's one. I'm sorry. Here's one that's talking about Kayleani. Kaylee. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. About that if you're in Washington, you have to change your car plate. So if that's the case, he hadn't been there very long. He hadn't been there close to 90 days, but and supposedly he was stalking them. Thanks for that input, Kate. I can't say your name. I don't know how to say it. 71. Well, I'm in a national forest when I'm out in the woods, so there could be cameras out there. There could be. I've wondered. You can pretty much hide cameras anywhere, but he's over here. He's like calm, cool, and collected after all this. Now, if he got into his car all bloody like that, and then it took him like an hour to get home because supposedly he was all over the place, what is the deal with that? And what did he do with those clothes? I certainly don't think he went home wearing all those clothes.
Right. So what's interesting to me too is there's the back way between Pullman and Moscow, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you could drink in one of those two states at 19. So this little back road that connects the two is some kind of old school. Local folks know it because that's where the kids would go to avoid interstates, to avoid running into a cop when they were underage drinking and coming back into the state where you had to be 21. But that's the quickest route, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the way he went to the murder scene. But when he left, he did that big loop all the way down and around, whether or not he was disposing of the knife then, or if he did it the next day.
The knife and all of his clothes.
And his clothes. Or
did he pull off into the woods, take off all of his clothes, change into something else? I don't see how he wouldn't have, even if he wore a ski mask and a freaking COVID mask and a eye shield, he still would have had blood on him somewhere.
Oh yeah.
But he could have got rid of that in the shower, but he could have taken off all his clothes. I'm just thinking out loud, and like all that way back home and put stuff, maybe he had a suitcase in the car and he put all those clothes in there and a big rock and threw it in a river or a lake somewhere.
Yeah. Have you thought about when did he sleep during this day over a day, 24-hour period?
I hadn't really thought about it, but when would he have slept?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Kathy, I was wondering if he had some kind of hazmat thing on, and hopefully DM will be able to say maybe more about what he had on if she saw that. I don't know. I really don't. But somehow he had to get home because they have combed over everything in his apartment. And the neighbor of his said that he was up at all hours of the night running the garbage disposal and stuff.
That's what I heard too.
Isn't that crazy?
He asked one of his neighbors. Oh crap! I just read this morning too. Supposedly asked him, is it okay to kill somebody if you're a member of the military? Is how it was phrased.
He asked somebody that?
He asked one of his neighbors that, I think, that was enlisted. And his neighbor just thought, that's a weird question.
Is that the couple that said they were going to have him over and then the wife got freaked out by him and said, no, I don't want him to come to dinner or something like that?
I hadn't heard that about those.
I don't know if that was on one of those Dateline shows I watched or something, but I was like, well, good. If you got that spidey sense, like if your gut tells you somebody's not good, you don't have to be around that person. You got to go with your gut. You always have to go with your gut, your instincts, all that.
Yeah. It's very important.
A one-piece Michael Myers-like outfit, shed off quickly. Yeah, you would think that if he pulled it off before he got in his car, then there would have been blood. I don't understand how he didn't leave a trail of blood from the house to his car.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Or in the snow. The ground was
There wasn't snow on the ground then.
There wasn't?
Mm-mm. I thought there was. Somebody told me when I was talking about it on here that there wasn't snow on the ground yet. But either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, it would show up more in the snow, but and then all those kids went in the house before the police and everything.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
The Tinder date said he's trying to tickle her.
Yeah. And then
Bones,
like, no, don't tickle me. And then he's like, I wasn't tickling you. Like the whole gaslighting thing. He's crazy.
do you think he'll take the stand?
I don't think so.
Do you think he'll plead out?
No, absolutely not.
I don't either. I think that he's in this for the notoriety.
Yeah, he wants to.
I think that we're feeding right into that by talking about it all. And here we are.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey, Lotus, wackadoodle. I just don't I'm going to always be puzzled about where everything ended up. And we don't know that they aren't out scouring every inch of road between. I don't know when he turned his phone back on. I think not till he got home. So that's a lot of mileage to cover in the woods. And
I also heard it was in one of the forums, and Barb, you may have sent me the link to it too. I can't remember. But there was this lady, obviously one of her sons goes to one of the schools. And so she's kind of speaking as a native of that area. And she was talking about all of the dead zones where you don't have coverage.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I haven't heard. Tell me more.
Well, that's basically what she said. She would describe her drive from she came from Seattle coming down I-90. And then she would name a town and then she'd say from here to here until you get into this town, Owensville, Owens something. You'll pick back up signal. And then once you're out of the city limits there, you'll drop again for X amount of miles, pick back up. So it may not be that he was even smart enough to turn his phone off. It may just be that there was no signal.
Oh.
Now, at the
surely not. He can't be that dumb.
No. I don't know. He's made some pretty critical errors, in my opinion.
Stalking their house and then turning off his phone while he was, and he touched their Wi-Fi. His phone touched their Wi-Fi.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Oh yeah, his is it Maddie's father or Kaylee's father, the one that's the Goncalves.
Yeah. That's
They were
Caleb.
interviewed, and he said, and I made a short about it because he's talking about how I guess he didn't actually like log in because you would certainly, I would think you would have to have a code to get in their Wi-Fi, but it picked up on, you know, it connected with his phone or tried to. It touched it's the way he called it.
Huh.
Not the night of the murder, but other times when he was there. Yeah, Kaylee, thanks, Lotus. Yeah, so
Interesting.
he's over there close enough to them. Well, the way it appears, things always look larger on camera like that than they really are. And so it looked like that area doesn't look as tiny as what they're saying it is.
We're talking about the house.
Yeah, the road there. I heard that, I don't know if it's Nancy Grace was saying it or who, that you could probably not get to a car, you know, passing another car through there.
Mm-hmm.
That little road back to their house and stuff. And, you know, he did the 3-point turn. His car did. So do you think it's possible? Well, of course it's possible. What do you think about the theory that he had somebody drive him there or he drove somebody there?
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't either.
This is all him. This was his little fantasy thing.
It's a lane and a half, 71. It touched the Wi-Fi twice.
Huh.
I didn't know that, Lotus. Thank you for that. Oh, and they're talking about how it's possible, and I've thought of the same thing. We don't know for sure that knife, that sheath was from the knife he used. They're saying one knife was used, but do we really know if more than one knife was used?
Papa Rogers alluded to there being more than one knife, I believe, in one of his threads. So, don't know.
More than one knife.
I mean, I'd have taken two if I was going to do something.
Well, I
Just,
mean,
you know, you break one, that happens.
they're not supposed to break though. Those kind of knives aren't.
They're not supposed to, but
not supposed to, and not. Yeah, exactly. Like maybe he went to his car and his car wouldn't start. Can you imagine? Can you imagine doing all that? Then you get to your BK isn't kind of nutty professorish, smart and arrogant. Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think he has common sense, Kathy. I don't think that, and I know this about people because my own sister's like this, straight A student, me over here bumbling around in school. But okay, could my sister replace all the parts in her toilet? No.
Yep.
Could my sister build a YouTube channel all on her own? No. You know, could she buy a house on? No. I mean, all these things that I do, my sister hasn't ever done. She's been married since she got out of college. And, you know, it's just known within our family that she doesn't have a lot of common sense, but she can do damn well on a test. And me, not so much.
Right.
A vegan with a leather sheath. That's a good point, William. Yeah. Why does he have a leather sheath if he's vegan?
Very, very insightful.
Vegan to the point of you have to buy new dishes. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, I've never heard anybody be like that. That's crazy.
Mm-mm.
And it doesn't appear he comes from money. So, I mean, you know, his dad and mother are retired, right?
Yeah, his mom, I think his mom still works for the school district.
And his dad was a custodian. So neither one of them have made very much money because she's a paraprofessional and they don't make very much money.
Yeah, they already said we can't afford a dream team for his defense.
William has too many facts, doesn't want to trigger anybody. There's a guy over on Twitter who's got all this information too. And he's always he says there's another person, and I think he says there's another weapon, and it's all going to come out any minute and all this stuff. But I mean, we don't know. Nobody knows. We don't know.
I want more facts. I want it now. I want it all now.
Okay. And think about this with the sheath. Okay. So you're stab. I mean, that's so gross. And then you leave. Or you just keeping the knife in your hand while you drop? You're not looking for your sheath to put it back on your belt?
Yeah, I've thought about that too.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And you know, when he went back there in the morning and he saw there were no emergency personnel there, if I were him and if he were that worried about, I probably would have gone back in there.
Williams says they sealed the evidence because they know the real suspect is out there. In 40 years, I've seen 2 warrants sealed.
Huh. Now, what's strange too, and I heard this on a CNN, I think they're talking about why they didn't seal the affidavit, but they did seal the search warrant for his apartment.
Yeah, that threw some like Coffendorfer. It threw her off. She was concerned because there was something about all that wasn't worded like it usually is. And so, yeah, there was a bunch of talk over on Twitter about that. The warrant was likely sealed because it was made before his arrest.
Oh, the warrant on the apartment. That could be.
Oh, because they knew he wasn't home.
Right, yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about the timing of the search of his home while he was out getting stopped by 2 different, wasn't it in Indiana where he got stopped?
Yeah. When did they do that?
The sheriff, and I think they messed up. I think they got some kind of call in to stop him just to verify that it was him and everything. And I think that because it was 2 different jurisdictions of the police, like one was the sheriff's department, one was, I don't know, state police or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible that because there wouldn't be any reason to stop him twice in 10 minutes and possibly tip him off.
For the same reason both times.
For the same reason.
You guys, can't you figure out a different reason at least?
Well, I think that it was I think that's my opinion, that there were 2 different not jurisdictions necessarily, but state police. Because like here,
yep,
if somebody's arrested on the interstates running through any of these towns, well, that's usually going to be state police. But and then you also have sheriff's department that patrols some of the roads. So you could have both out there, and they see it, and by then I'm sure they had the license and everything, and they just were supposed to pull him over and get some video. I heard to get video of his hands, see if he had any cuts on his hands. Vegan is a lifestyle, plant-based is a diet, which was him.
I don't know.
If there's no blood in the car, William, I agree that's going to be an issue. They've got to find something in that car. Surely they've found something by now. I mean, surely a lot of these things have been answered already. There's no way he cleaned out his car 100%. And didn't leave some fibers from that house, well, they had hardwood floors or wood floors, so I don't know, like there was going to be carpet fibers or something, but you can't get that close and personal with 4 people and not have something. There's just no way. They tipped him off to clean the car. I think he already, to clean the car more. I think he probably already cleaned the car. Yeah, Cassandra, I'm thinking the same thing. Did he cover it all with plastic? Could you put Visqueen down, Stacy?
Yeah.
In your whole car?
It would be very challenging, but yeah, you could. You could. So I think this is interesting too. Did you notice how quickly, without them really even talking any further, the prosecution and defense, she sent him an email saying, can we postpone until the, June? And he agreed to do that. And they didn't have any more conversation about that. But so the prosecution has no problem giving the defense 6 months to prepare for this trial. That's kind of a tell, I think. That means the prosecution, they're like, you can have all the time you want. 6 months from now, we're still going to be here, and we're going to have so much evidence against him. You know what I mean? That's up to Bryan to waive his speedy trial. I just think there's something to that.
What do you think gives to it, though? What do you think?
I just think that there's going to be so much evidence. They said very early on, this was like, it may have been the second interview that either the police did or Kaylee's dad won, where they said, it's not that we're lacking evidence. It's that we have so much evidence that needs to be processed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's taking time. Or maybe they were just saying that to buy time. Who knows? But I just think it's going to be evidence rich. And I think that's part of the reason why the prosecution was like, sure, we can wait. He's going to stay behind bars anyway. So,
yeah, I don't think the prosecution had any problem, but I just like, why wouldn't he? I don't know. 2 months. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't want it to be over and done with quickly. He wants to be exonerated, but I think he wants to be in the news and be this infamous killer more than he cares about his life, or I think he's enjoying it all.
I think so too. So I did just see that post by William. He said every piece has reasonable doubt. I don't know that every piece. I mean, I think there's some pretty hard and fast facts in that affidavit.
Well, Benny, I'm like you. I would want a speedy trial. Like, I wouldn't want to be stuck in jail, but then I didn't go kill 4 people. And, you know, I'm just like wondering why he killed 4 people in a house and didn't kill the other people, or why he killed all 4. I don't know. Maybe that was his goal, how many he could kill in one day.
Yeah.
And then he got tired or something. And
I bet he was tired, man.
Oh, what? Because that adrenaline, when you get an adrenaline rush like that, and you're going to have that when you would have that. And when you come down from that, you're just exhausted.
Yeah.
Now, I've never got one going to kill people. I'm just saying, I know how adrenaline feels. And then I know once it's over, you're just like kind of wiped out. And I'm thinking he's driving down the road going, woohoo, look what I did.
Yeah. I mean, when he pulled out of there, he almost got stuck. It kind of sounds like, because he was trying to get out of there so fast.
He was flying.
Yeah.
Daisy says, how many? Oh, no, now I'm never going to want to sleep on my side again. I don't agree with that he had to have help, Daisy Duke. I think that if you think about, if we started a timer right now and set it on 1 minute, you would be amazed how long that amount of time is. A minute of time.
Do a plank minute, and that'll put things in perspective.
Do what?
I said do a plank for 1
That's
minute.
exactly what I was getting ready to say. Go do a plank. If y'all don't know what a plank is, one of these days I'll show you. But yeah, your goal when you're doing a plank usually is like to try to get to a minute.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be that beneficial over a minute, but just go do a plank or go to some fitness class, and which I used to teach, and go in there and you'll figure out real quick how long a minute is. And like, I know we've heard that he, stabbed them a lot, multiple times, but still, I think he had time in that amount of time. And
it depends on where he stabbed each person, right? Was he going straight for the heart? Was he going for the, jugular? Did he hit critical arteries immediately?
So
quicker.
William says, yeah, it depends on if any of them were asleep. We already know, we were told they were all asleep, but now we know they weren't. But we don't know if they all weren't asleep. I don't think anybody's told us that. And you could, I think he could have done it in 15 to 20 minutes. I do. I don't see why not. Oh, you think that the family would have helped him? Oh, like the Laundries did with their Bryan? And why so many Bryans in the news lately with all these, that Bryan Walsh guy who obviously has killed his wife, Anna, and we've got Bryan Laundrie, and then we've got this Bryan Kohberger.
Good
Don't
point.
name your kid Bryan. He's a boxer with knowledge of anatomy. He is?
Yeah, he's a kickboxer.
Oh, he was a kickboxer.
I
Yeah.
think that his nose got broken. That I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's true. Ethan was sleeping on his stomach.
You think Ethan's going to be one of the defense wounds? Well, it's possible because he was taller than. You also have the element of surprise if they were just you're just hanging around your house and some guy comes in there with a big knife. You're not prepared. Your mind's not prepared. They've probably been drinking and stuff or using drugs. It's a college town and they'd been out that night. It was homecoming. It was a football game night. They had all been, if you've been to college or you watch college sports on TV, you know the big deal around college football. And it was that way in Idaho too. It was that way at their school. I know it's crazy down here in the South, and people will drink and be falling down drunk by the time the game's on. So,
oh yeah.
I'm not saying these kids did, but they were in what's known as a party house in that area, and way before they were. Huh?
Somebody said it was a trap house. I'm like, I don't think it was that serious.
No, I don't think so. I heard they were selling drugs and stuff, and I don't think that either. I mean, maybe they got some pot for somebody, and here, I got you this. It's $50 or whatever.
Right.
I just don't see those kids doing that.
I don't either.
Yeah, William, I'm like, I don't understand. Yeah, he has one leg and it levitates. This guy, William's saying, they found the one shoe print, but no more shoe prints. I mean,
yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's just weird. And then we were just talking about no blood track to the hell, for all we know, he stripped down while he was still in the house, and he had on coveralls and stuff.
He could have worn, booties like when whoever comes in the house to work on stuff, and it may just be that there was that one latent shoe print was all they could come up with, or there could be a million different shoe prints that are going to come out later. Who knows?
And we don't know how many people trampled on that, because that was the second day that they went in there that they found that shoe print.
Yep.
And one print.
Yeah, I think about too, when you're swabbing for DNA, I would, in my OCD, I would have a hard time just ever leaving a crime scene, because, you can't possibly touch every single thing to test it all. I would just always worry about what I missed. That's why they go back more than once too. But as far as I know, it's still on lockdown, right? The house.
Oh yeah, they've got a guard out there.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if you don't count Nancy Grace having her table and folding chairs sitting out there, I'm just throwing that in. I mean, a lot of people have gone there. The Bullhorn Betty group and all, they've been there, right? Haven't they? But
yeah.
For
Nancy though,
Nancy's getting all kinds of crap about that because she set up out there and
looked like a lemonade.
What?
It looked like a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Terrible.
There was a meme made and they made it look like a lemonade stand. Yeah, I don't really see her point. I mean, I don't see a problem with her going to the home and everything, but there wasn't really any need to sit out there and film from there. But whatever. Yeah, the sheath wasn't initially found. I think that in the affidavit for arrest, the police officer said he noticed it when he first saw the bodies
next to Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't reported.
And also the house apparently wasn't locked, which I can see that happening. The kids all had locks on their doors.
Yeah.
If people were in and out of there all the time. And I don't want to talk about DM. I don't want to talk about that in particular, but what was I about to say? I lost my train of thought.
As far as locking doors. And her going back maybe into her room to lock her door.
No, I don't know. That's not what I was going to say. But anyway, Now, what else do we want to talk about? Because I totally lost that thought. I got a couple more videos pulled up here. Let me see. What about Stacy? You said that he got pulled over by you had heard that he got pulled over a couple times by his home.
I could only find one verified. I sent you the article about it too.
Well,
and
we're just going to state up front that this is just based on news reports, and we don't know if it's true. So
yeah, it's a local news report from one of the stations around there. But he got pulled over. It was somewhere in the week of right after Thanksgiving ish. For no seatbelt, I think is why they pulled him over.
Yeah, no seatbelt.
Yeah, and the cop had a big dialogue with him, and somehow Bryan wound up giving the cop his cell phone number, and that's not like standard protocol. I don't think the cop even asked for it. I think Bryan was maybe overcompensating to get out of a sticky situation. I just can't imagine you kill 4 people and you've seen how many cops in a month and a half. I would have a heart attack. That'd be it for me.
Paracat said she's sorry, and you don't have to be sorry. We're just talking our opinions right now. So don't be sorry, but she thinks that someone else is involved. And I can see that.
Well, it could be. There could be.
I mean, when you do the timeline and, it showed the DoorDash person gets there at 4, and at 4:20 he's speeding off.
Here's the thing. There were cameras at the house across the street. Maybe that was the only local camera, and somebody said a cat set off the one ring camera, and that's how the Elantra was captured. Well, if they got the Elantra, didn't they get him getting into the Elantra?
I was wondering.
Or something more than
if those cameras picked, and maybe they did his gate and everything. Maybe there's some proof, that we just don't know about yet. Because I was thinking the same thing. If the ring cameras or whatever kind of cameras picked up the car, then somebody had to pick him up walking. And also the next day when the kids were there and they were trying to figure out what happened and all that.
Yeah.
William thinks the pings. See, I don't know who you are, William. William says the pings will be thrown out.
Yeah, I don't think they will be thrown out. They're not gonna like be the icing on the cake for the case. I mean, because you can always argue that, this cell tower right here picks up phones within a 50-mile radius or 25-mile radius. So he could have been anywhere over here or there, maybe even not in Moscow, because of the tower he's pinging off of. But I definitely think they're still going to use it in court. I don't think it'll get thrown out.
Bones, I just gave you a wrench. If you don't want it, just let me know and I'll take it back. But I appreciate you having my back in here. Oh, so the 15-mile radius it's not GPS. There's a lot of pings. There's no reason for him to be back there in that area. But I don't think it's dependent upon. I don't think this is going to come down to the pings. I think that it's going to come down to. I think there's going to be DNA, fibers. That's what I think.
Yeah.
There's going to be the footprint. Now that footprint, though, if he supposedly had on Vans, they would have to have the shoe. A lot of people wear Vans. But if it's the right size and everything, and that can narrow it down and it can be used as evidence. It's all circumstantial.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I don't get how he's not going to get away with this. If he does, like Casey Anthony. Well, and the thing is, having the bodies within a certain amount of hours. 4 bodies within a home, not out in the elements. There's so much evidence that's going to be found on them, as opposed to a child who was thrown in a swamp and found months later.
Right.
So, I mean, O.J. Simpson got away with what he did, and how, how did he get away with that?
The
Hey,
club.
Roddy.
Club.
Yeah, you got to quit. Well, and you can't completely cover your face. And I said this, I don't know if it was that day you dropped in, Stacy, but I was sitting here talking and I looked down and an eyelash was laying here. I lost an eyelash just while I was talking. So you got to think with those bushy eyebrows, and you can lose. You can't cover your whole. I mean, unless he had on goggles or something.
Might have.
Oh, hair, blood, skin under nails. Yeah. If any of those kids fought back, which we've heard they did, then they're going to have touched him. There's got to be so much DNA.
Yeah.
You would remember those eyes, Paracat? They are pretty defined. They're kind of steely, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let me see what else we've got here in the hopper to look at. The Hyundai police stop. We already talked about that. You sent me these, so I'm not even really sure. I watched.
I think everything I sent you is a news article.
Yeah, not a video.
I don't think so.
I'm looking at this. Does anybody in chat want to ask us anything? Mostly Stacy. What are your thoughts, and what do y'all want us to hone in on? Bones wants to see the autopsy results, and the dad alluded to the fact that he believed one of them was targeted because they had so much more damage done. Which one was it? I can't remember. Was it his daughter
Kaylee.
or Kaylee? Okay.
It was Kaylee.
And there was the model that went around that showed he went to Kaylee's room first and she wasn't there. And then I don't know how they know that though. And then he crossed the hall and both the girls were in that room.
So
Kaylee wasn't even supposed to be there.
Some of maybe what you're talking about is what Papa Rogers was talking about, like the order in which it was done. And then he did the diagram, right, of where the bodies were found with such certainty. Now, whether or not that actually matches the crime scene, we don't know, but wouldn't that be something if it did?
Oh, wow. Well, why wouldn't he go online and start talking? Why wouldn't? I mean, he's all about being,
Yeah. The deed is done. Now he needs to brag about it. Yeah, I mean, Papa Rogers is him. Inside Looking is him. I mean, Inside Looking is almost a dead giveaway. You can see because he does a little profile with his eye, and then boom, there's his nose, his very obvious Bryan Kohberger nose. That's his profile picture for that.
Membership, Cassandra. Thank you so much for that. New member, Cassandra. Well, his nose is very odd. His nose is very broken looking. Right?
Yep.
Oh, and they're saying, okay, so DM said he left through the sliding doors. Why do you think the front door was left wide open for hours that morning? Is that the thing? Or are they just saying it was open as in not locked? Because I heard it wasn't locked.
No, I've heard what she is that a she? I can't.
I don't know.
I've heard the same thing they're talking about though, that the front door was wide open and people were like, why? Why is it open? Because it's freaking freezing up there. So I'm not sure.
Well, okay. Let's think of what reason it could have been open. I can't think of any reason. Why would you, it's cold outside. If he left, I don't know. Why would you leave the door open when you left? I mean, I know normally somebody's not going to break in your house and then shut the door behind themselves, but that would have drawn attention. If he came in the front door or left through the front door, left it wide open, that's going to draw attention to the home.
Right.
Quicker than anything happened. I know it was a Sunday morning and people don't get mulling around so early, but still, it was noon before the police got called. Or
Now, I'll say this: our dog Walter has opened our front door and walked right out it. But I don't think Murphy. I think Murphy was in Maddie's room. Is what
He was upstairs in what's her name? Lindley? What's her name?
Oh, the other girl, the not DM and not any of the dead people.
No. Well, according to that model we saw, he was in Kaylee's room. It was her dog, but she had moved out and was only there to show them her new car. It's what I heard. Wasn't supposed to really be there that night.
Well, she shared custody of Murphy with Jack.
Mm-hmm. And Cassandra says that he went to Kelly's room first. Now, how do we know that, Cassandra? Because like I'm saying, I've heard that, but how do we know that? And she was going to visit that weekend. She had already graduated early and was on her way to her career and everything.
Yeah, Zoomer mom, that's an interesting point. That could be, kids are irresponsible.
William says it takes 8 hours to stage a scene. Yeah. Oh, Roddy, I don't know. What would Stacy, you have a fairly large home on more than one level. And what would you do if you woke up? I mean, and that's just a horrible situation, but we can't say what we would do. And I'm not trying to talk bad about DM at all. The whole thing just doesn't make sense.
I mean, yeah, I would have called the police, but I'm not a 21-year-old kid that maybe took some drugs or something and was super paranoid and didn't know if I was even maybe just hallucinating that I saw somebody. We just can't know.
My thinking on that is this guy comes walking through your house and you've got a party. You're known as a party house. The weekend before, they supposedly had 150-ish people there.
Night
at a party. So just because this creepy guy walks through there and you were scared because you heard noises doesn't mean that you necessarily put all that together. And by the time she did put it all together, talking to police, I'm sure, it's all said and done. You just your mind doesn't necessarily work in a logical way when you're so scared like that. So.
And, she heard supposedly Xana crying, and she may have just thought that her and Ethan were arguing or something, Obviously, she didn't know everybody was getting stabbed to death, for sure. Sure, she would have called the cops. Just sure of it.
And if she was sure that he had left, and wasn't coming back in, I mean, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Maybe he did. Maybe she saw him leave through the sliding door and he came back in through the front door, left it open because he was going to go get the knife sheath, and he got in the house and heard something and took off. I mean, and he just left the door open. There's so many ways that door could have been left open, and it could have been him.
And maybe she didn't call 911 because she was scared that he would hear her calling 911. I mean, we just can't know these things.
No. Lotus Flower says that, and I remember that she thought Kaylee was playing with the dog, and because the dog was barking, and she saw him the third time she opened the door. So it wasn't like she knew everything the whole time. Right. And I would have, me too. I mean, I'm just I told y'all, sometimes when I'm laying in bed, I start thinking I'm seeing things and I just pull the covers up and go to sleep. I don't know. I just can't. Sometimes facing the unknown is way scarier than just ignoring it. Right?
That's one way.
I have anxiety issues. I think y'all are talking about disassociation. Yes. Yeah. And we'll find out. I think we'll find out a lot more when the trial, even the preliminary, I think we'll find out a whole lot more.
One more talking point I want to cover is, So, they found his old account associated with an old email address where he was posting on forums about his disorders, his self-diagnosed disorders, right?
Oh, I don't know about this, so fill me in.
Yeah, so he would have been 16 or 17. This was in 2011, I believe, and they found it by using one of his old email addresses. So he would have been in high school, approaching graduation. And basically he was informing this forum, I guess, in an effort to get some feedback on what could possibly be wrong with him. But he's talking about how he is depersonalized, right? And he said he looks his family in the face and he should feel something, but he just doesn't. He has suicide all the time. He's depressed. Nothing seems to matter. He doesn't have an opinion on anything. Just on and on and on. This whole barrage of what's wrong with him. So he's known this for a long time. And maybe there should have been, and Kaylee's dad said this too, very succinctly and in a really sweet way, considering the circumstances. But, he was saying maybe the parents should have picked up on some signs and done something about it. But maybe they just didn't know what was going on with the kid. Some kids just don't talk, and he doesn't seem like a talker anyway. But this has been going on for a long time, him feeling not like normal.
Do you know if he was on meds? Somebody's asking in the chat. Does anybody know? I haven't heard.
I haven't either.
Topamax, what is that? Antidepressant?
I don't know.
The next thing they'll be saying is he got the jab or didn't get the jab, and that's what happened. Yeah, SA. I was just thinking out loud. I really don't think he went back for the Sheath, but I'm just thinking of why the front door was left open when she saw him leave through the. She saw him leave through the sliding glass doors in the kitchen. But I don't know. I just can't imagine leaving part of, to me, that's part of a murder weapon. It's, you came in there, surely you came in there with the sheath on the knife in the sheath. And you don't notice it's missing when you leave. Because why? You've got the knife. So all the neighbors can see there's a man with a knife. Or maybe he hid it. I don't know. You can hide a knife up in your sleeve.
Bright street lights reflecting off the bloody blade. I don't know.
And then you've got even more blood and to deal with if you put it up your sleeve or something.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, and he was supposedly on heroin, got off of heroin, and then we're hearing, but I don't know if it's true because I talked about it the other day here, but about him using cocaine. I don't know.
I don't think he was like a coke addict.
Yeah.
I think the recreational thing here and there. But apparently he was a heroin addict to some degree, enough to need rehab for it.
And I'm with you, AJ. We should pray for his family, even his family.
Oh yeah.
All the victims' families, the two survivors' families, the friends, all those kids in college. His what's the twin boy? What's the boy's name?
Hunter and Maisie.
No, Ethan.
Yeah, Hunter and Maisie are the twins' names. Triplets.
Oh, right. So those twins went back to college, y'all. They went back to this university where their triplet sibling got murdered. And those kids were brave enough to pack up after Christmas and go back to that same college. Now that takes some cojones.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I've got a question. Mm-hmm. So I heard somewhere that Brian's dad, the first day of court in Pennsylvania, that he showed up in apparently something that was not a formal outfit. It was not really, I heard, appropriate for court. But then I've never heard anything else about it.
What are you talking about?
So Brian's dad.
Oh, yes, he was not dressed appropriate for court.
What was he wearing?
Like ill-fitting jeans or something, and just real working in the yard clothes. And then he was cleaning up around the house the other day, and he had a "Life is Good" jacket.
Yeah.
Said "Life," I love the brand. Had "Life is Good" across the back.
Yeah.
I just think that the family, I don't think they have much money. That home that they live in, it looks big, but it's in disrepair. It could be that it was passed down to them. It could be that they bought it during a slump in the, it's in a gated community, but it could have bought it in a real estate slump and got a really good deal on it. We don't know.
And
Maybe they're renting. I don't know.
did you know when the FBI comes and does a no-knock warrant, like what they did, and they break windows and they break down the front door, the homeowner is responsible for those repairs unless they have broken down the wrong person's door. Then the FBI for it. So they're having to foot the bill for all of that damage.
Yeah, they definitely surprised him and didn't knock on the door and say, "Can we come in?" They went in and got him.
Yeah.
There were some pictures of his dad. Well, his dad's got really bad looking teeth. I don't know if they're stained or if he's got something, like wrong with his teeth. I'm not going to make fun of him and say he doesn't brush his teeth because I don't know that.
Right.
But, and yeah, they said that he was cutting cocaine with that big knife. There's no way, if you've ever done it, I know, you use a credit card or something. You don't use a big old knife like that. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Or the day before. And I do, Zoomer Mom, I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for his parents. And, I don't want to make fun of his dad, but, his dad definitely was not dressed appropriately for court, but he may have worn the best thing that he owns.
I think Dad's he's really quirky, and I think he's just weird, and maybe he's just really cerebral. We don't know. Off in his own little world. Who knows? He's a weird dude, though, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't have any problem talking about that kind of stuff, we'll talk about what he wore to court. He just didn't look like he should have, dressed like that for court, but it really isn't about what he wore. BK's dad was an oddball, black sheep of the family. Oh, I don't know if he has any criminal history. Well, I'm the black sheep of my family, and I'm really not all that bad. Stacy knows all about that stuff, but
no, I heard that too. Does he have two brothers? If I remember right, it might be two brothers, but he is the outcast of the family. I read that.
He's got tetracycline stains. Oh,
what's that?
See, that's it's some kind of medication, and it can cause there's a lot of things that can cause your teeth to stain and everything. And I did see that when he was on video at the police stop, but
right. That's
I definitely didn't immediately assume that he just doesn't brush his teeth like some people have. I just don't do that. Yeah, thanks, Lotus. I just, there's a lot of things that can be wrong with people's teeth.
Yeah. Don't dog on people's teeth. It's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait. Just wait.
Just wait. What? My teeth are really crooked, so I'm just saying. And I have fillings and all that. Yeah, Bryan had two sisters, but we're asking about his dad. And Dad's not a vegan?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think Dad was a vegan. And I haven't seen his mother because going into court, she was covering her face. Can you imagine though? Because I've talked here about when my dad, and Stacy knows this, when my dad was caught stealing from his government job when I was in high school. And I was so embarrassed, not going into court because we didn't have court TV there. We didn't have all that. But the fact that it came out in the newspaper, and I just, in my mind, everybody knew about it, which probably at my school, maybe 20 people knew about it because word of mouth or something. But it wasn't like we didn't have internet back then, y'all. So things don't get around like that. But it's very embarrassing. And to think that your own child did this to 4 different people and maybe more. Do you think there's more murders out there, Stacy?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah. I don't think this is his first time.
Can't be his first rodeo. Can't be.
The dad had 2 older sisters, or Bryan? Oh, an eating disorder. Oh, he wasn't vegan? Orthorexia. Wow, if he's got eating disorder and oh, the dad has an eating. Wait, I'm getting all confused. I know eating disorders can be very bad on your teeth, but you're saying I didn't know there was an eating disorder that means he's not vegan. What does that mean? Help me here.
I don't know.
A vegan. Yeah, and his sister was in a slasher movie. Did you know that?
Yeah, in 2011.
What are you sorry about, Roddy? Oh, okay. You were saying, yeah. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know. All right. What else, Stacy? What you got? Anything else?
I could talk about this for days, but I don't need to.
I know.
We should probably let it go for now.
Do you want to plan to come back soon and we'll continue or?
Sure.
No? Okay. Bryan has 2 older sisters. One's a counselor or psychologist or something right outside in Allentown, PA.
I know. Other sister is one's a shrink and one's a short teacher, school district, something.
Oh, I think I heard that. One's a school counselor. Is that one the same as the shrink?
Yeah, that's the one that was in the slasher film.
And she's saying that JD and JS were falsely accused of the crime for 7 weeks by many people, and Jack too. And Kaylee's parents actually had Jack pull up his shirt and stuff to make sure he didn't have any bruises or scratches on him.
Yep.
Can you imagine? And they said he was the sweetest guy, that very, very, and probably they were probably about to get back together because she was trying to call him.
Oh, so I heard this morning. The whole when they captured Kaylee and Maddie's conversation at the grub truck. I think that's where it was, where Maddie said, "I told Adam everything."
Mm-hmm.
So word has it that Adam apparently was somebody that Kaylee had been dating, but Maddie went and told him that Kaylee is still in love with Jack. They're going to get back together. And that's what that meant. And I think that's by Kaylee's dad, family, because of text messages that they were able to go back and retrieve. So speculation, sort of, but I kind of.
She was doing that to help her friend not have to break it off with this guy she'd been dating.
Yeah, I mean, you remember when you were 21?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you text him. You go talk to him.
Well, we didn't have text back then, but
No, but yeah.
Can you get your mom a phone and dial this number for me?
Yeah, star 67 or whatever. When you're a teenager and your father's mistake, that's what I'm sorry for. Oh,
you can see it now. You can't see that.
Certain ones. I don't see everything, but I see Roddy's. It's weird. I don't know.
Oh, the bartender was named Adam?
Yeah, I think that's who they were referring to.
I told Adam everything. So she was going to get back with Jack probably. Well, even if you come home from partying and stuff like that, and you're dialing one person over and over and over again, and you've been drinking or doing whatever you were out doing as a college student on a football night, you wouldn't just be calling Jack over and over and over again unless you still wanted to be with him.
Right.
Unless maybe they wanted him to bring them something, like whatever. But, I mean, you still wouldn't call him over and over and over again. Right. You would call the person that's on your mind. So I didn't know about that. So I didn't know that's what she meant by Adam. Well, anyway, we've just kind of talked circles around everything, and we don't have to keep on. We'll be ready next time with specific things that we can talk about.
Yeah, we had like talking points, and everything was going to be real organized. But this case is there's just no organization to it. There's a lot to cover and a lot to talk about.
There is. So we'll talk and we'll do this again soon. And Stacy, also, I know that you were following the Missy Beavers case.
Oh yeah.
It was going on, and it's a cold case now. So we might could do some stuff on that, because I didn't follow it that close, but I remember you were like really into it.
I still tune into it just to see what's going on, and they don't have anybody. It's great.
Yeah, Bones, it's going to be a wild ride, and I would like to be at the trial. I would like to go to the trial.
Yeah, that would be a dreamy.
Because it may be televised on delay like they're doing these hearings. I don't really know yet. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yes, if they delay it, so that would be better than not seeing it. But I don't think he's going to plead, though. I don't think he's going to plead. I think it'll go to trial.
Oh yeah.
Unless something happens to him before then. But he's not going to be in general pop, so there's really kind of hard to say anybody would get to him. But I mean, Einstein, or what's his name? Epstein. He didn't kill himself, and he was right there in delayed television, and he was right there in under suicide watch, and he's gone. So what do we know? Right?
Yeah. Never know.
So Idaho, what's the other two crimes they got coming up? Or what's the other one? Delayed television. What do you think, Burnt Popcorn? What do you mean, two big trial? Or is there something? Is there another? What's the other trial?
Oh yeah. What are those?
Yeah, tell us.
Dude, I need something.
Idaho's a long way from here. It's that state that goes like that. It's up in my oh, the Vallow case? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not real up on that one either. I mean, I'm not, I come in and out of true crime basically in my life. And now that I have this channel, it's like, oh, wow. Cause I don't know, Stacey, if you even knew, cause you weren't coming on here, but I was talking about Casey Anthony a couple of times and stuff. And I'm like, if I ever knew that I would be doing that back in the day when I was watching all that, I had no idea that someday I would be on here talking about her case, and Nancy Grace and stuff like that. But here I am.
Yeah, yo. I mean, I don't watch. I watch the local news, and then I watch true crime, and then I am on my phone watching true crime. I'm totally addicted to it, and
I know you are. That's why I said, hey, come on with me. Yeah, Epstein did not kill himself. Oh, and the cameras just conveniently didn't work. Yeah, Epstein. And now his wife is in prison for like 20 years or something, 22 years, I think. And she's teaching yoga classes and, how to drink tea or something.
she's disgusting too.
What are you drinking?
Me?
Yeah.
You like my sippy cup? It changes color as it goes down.
What is in there?
Mountain.
Pink Mountain Dew?
No, the cup is pink. It's based on the temperature of your cup.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so yeah, everybody, we're going to go. I just want to thank Stacy for coming on and chatting, and I hope y'all enjoyed her and she and I. Somebody did say they did, and that they learned a lot today. And again, we're not necessarily spilling the truth. We're just talking about stuff because we don't know all the truth.
And, me and Barb talked last night. Like, one of the things that I don't want to do is be throwing out, conspiracy theories or, we wanted to bring things that are fact-based as far as they're coming from a reputable news source, and they can be wrong too, but that's just important to us, is trying to maintain some integrity in the discussion.
Burt Popcorn is interested in Stacy's opinions on Delphi. What are your thoughts on Delphi?
Oh man, so many. We need to have another call about it.
We could do that. We can do that. I mean, you're welcome to come on anytime with me, because she, like y'all, just wait. Within a year, Stacy will be having her own channel. She's gonna be on YouTube, and I've already warned her about all the drama and all the people.
Oh, we'll see. Well, yeah, no, we really should have another call about Delphi. I mean, I would be on here another 2 hours talking about that.
And maybe when we do that, maybe Juror, I don't think Juror's in here today, but Juror is really up to date on that too. To me, a lot of times doing a panel is a lot better. Even just, one person on panel with me is a lot better than just me sitting up here talking. For that, I'm really grateful for you. But I'm just grateful that you're my friend. She's a great friend, y'all. She's really good, and appreciate you giving up time today. And thanks to mods, the couple of new mods. I threw some reaches out this morning, and also I got a couple of new members today. I appreciate y'all joining my chat or joining my channel. And I hope that you find things here that you enjoy. And if you're watching on replay, thanks for watching on replay, because that's just as important, almost as important as being here for live. Because if you're here for the live, you can interact and everything. But either way is fine with me. And I'm proud that you watched today. And I will announce soon when Stacy's going to come back with me. Soon, yeah. She's busy, y'all. Can never pin her down. So thanks for being here. Thank you, Stacy and mods, and I will see y'all soon. Bye. Thank you, CLM. Bye.